Hi guys, and welcome back to another Dragonheir Silence God video. Guys, the Blessing Summon is back, the event is open, and we have a glimpse of what is expecting us for probably for the rest of the season, for the last months, where these events are going to repeat over and over. And there's been some change, and it's interesting for me to have a look at it and understand if it's worth to pull your hard-earned dice or not. And let's have a look at this event and understand what is offering and how we can strategize for the rest of the season, basically. So this is the event, and as you can see at the bottom, the resources are quite decent. You have the auto rail tickets, which are quite nice, honestly, especially if you play on mobile, because it's difficult really to play those auto battles and forget about your game. We have an apprentice scrolls for your rare champion, one epic one, the Scholar Scrolls, thousands essence of creations, which are pretty useful to level your artifact, and Master Scrolls for legendary champions, and finally at dice number 6 we have the epic hero option chest, which last season for this event used to be on 20 dices. I'm happy to see that this event has been changed. I think 20 dices were a bit too much. I've been quite lucky last season, to be honest, because every time I went for the chest to get those epic that I didn't had, I've been lucky enough to pull a legendary in the 20 dices before getting the chest. So it wasn't too bad for me, but I know that for most of you might be not the case. And so you pull 20 dices, you get your epic chest, but you are only like few dices away for the legendary. So you feel kind of obligated to go for that. Now, we also have to consider that we are on the back of the events for Ardrit, and I will imagine that most of you had to pull at least 40 dices to get that amazing champion. You really had to be spot on with all your comms to be able to pull only 20, and I think that's the case for only a very select number of players. Most of us had to go for 40 dices, and so we probably are a bit dry at this point. So even pulling 5 dices is not going to be that easy. Dices are so difficult to come across in this game, and it really depends on the return. I have to say, obviously, if you're a spender, this is not a bad deal, to be honest. I hear a lot of players that are happy to invest 40 dice, get one legendary, and bring home 2000 essence of creations and 2 legendary books or scrolls for the Heliolite aggregation banner. So if you look in terms of resources use and return, this event is not too bad if you are in that situation where you can splash and you can use your dices and you're not too worried about getting new one, because obviously we are getting close to the D&D collaboration where we're going to have to pull more dices over there too to get the Helmister champion that we still don't know what kit he has, but we imagine is going to be a good champion, and we probably going to want to put our hands on it. It's an exclusive champion. It's going to be available only during the event. So if you miss the event, you're never going to be able to get that champion again. And therefore, it's worth, generally speaking, to save your dice to get those champions. They are probably unique. Now, a lot depends also on the pool of champion. I know. So let's have a look at what champions are available over here. So let's start from the epics first, because that is what most of us are looking. Because if we go for the 6 dices and the epic chest, that's what we want to get. We have Alfie, Gradros, Shagrol. This guy changed name too many times. I think he's Horus right now. It's not Olas, it's Horus. Dark Zone, Gitona, Fira. This is Pargu. Oh my god. Terrible champion. Joyce. Theodore. Not too bad, Theodore, to be honest. We have the Radiant tank that I don't want to talk about. Is absolutely trash. And we have Shook. Now, nothing really stand out too much in my opinion. They are decent. They are not terrible. And it's not the worst selection of champion out there, to be honest. Alfie can be useful, especially if you're going for 2 wild team for the Otherworld exploration, because we have access to Nedda, which is a rare, Herich, which we all had, and luckily maybe you pull some other some other epics that are in the game, like Foley, for example, that I use. GLaDOS is quite useful because he has a control immunity with the shield and debuff immunity when you are on the shield. It dispel them, and it give the opportunity to your team to keep going. Shagroll is a good damage dealer. Horus also, it was really useful for me last season when we were fighting Air2, for example. This guy can do some damage. He is not bad. It's not the best, it's not the first choice, but it's not a bad epic. I think I don't have him and I don't have Pargo. Those are my two only missing from this banner, but I will not pull for him. Gitona, I know is widely considered a good champion. I can't make it work, to be honest, and I don't like champions that really need an enabler with them. I like something that synergizes between them, but doesn't really need someone coming just to make them do some damage. Fira can be useful in the ancient battlefield. Joyce, it's a good damage dealer for the summoning. Theodore, it's really useful for many fights. I've been using him in the Otherworld Exploration last season because he has basically a recharge speed penalty and decreased attack. His kit, it's not too bad. It has attack penalty on the ultimate and recharge speed penalty on the battle skills, so it comes quite handy when you're fighting bosses. This guy, honestly, it's terrible. It needs a buff in my opinion. And Shook has a similar kit to Theodore, but for lightning. So you have attack penalty and recharge speed penalty on the ultimate, and it has a 3 arrow each lightning damage with 75% chance of reducing their ultimate energy by 5%. So if you're lucky, you get basically, well, you get 15% reduction, most likely probably a 10%. So it is not too bad, and it has an interesting kit. You obviously have to scroll him to get the best out of it. I probably wouldn't be too bothered to pull for this selection of epics. They are quite replaceable unless you need like one champion to complete your team. If you're going with Furbat and Nathaniel and you're using Shelter and Nimbus, for example, and you want to complete your Dauntless team, Shagro is absolutely amazing. It's a good option. And if you're lucky enough, you maybe can pull some of the legendary with those dices. And honestly, this selection of legendary is not too bad. Torin is really good. Jillian, Irion, Karf. This guy is one actually probably a decent summoner. I don't like summoner at all. I don't know much about them because I've never really looked into summoner. But he could be decent, I guess. Vikana. Yeah, this one is Vinyara. I always confuse the name of this two. This guy is good. Huldork is absolutely good. He has attack penalty, can dispel buff, so it can be good on the bosses for the Otherworld Exploration. Rose, that has recently been buffed, she's really, really good. I have these two champions. I have Nissa. I haven't scrolled her yet, but she's a good enabler for the other exclusive Thunderbolt per Conte. And Suta is amazing. She's my main DPS in my Vortex team this season. And this guy, Casper, is a good damage dealer for the wild team. So if you need some of the wild champions to complete your damage dealing comps, it can be good. So overall on this event, to be honest, I'm not impressed with the epic selection. The rewards are quite good for 5 dices. So if you only want to look for scrolls, 5 dices is not a bad option. So you can get some Essence of Creation to level your artifact. I know that a legendary scroll is only 450 worm arrow, but you only get that. And here by pulling 5 dices, you will get the legendary scroll, the epic one, the rare, thousands Essence of Creation on top of whatever you're able to put together with the champions. So it's not a terrible deal overall, but I wouldn't be too fast. If I have to pull on this banner, I will definitely push until I get a legendary, and only in that case, to be honest, because the selection is really good and the chance to get one of them can probably complete your teams. I only have 2 of them, so I will have a good chance to pull a new one, and all the new ones are decent. And if I pull a double, it will be my first legendary artifact. I don't have any of them, so yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea, but I don't think I'm gonna pull on this banner. And the reason for me is because if we jump on the upcoming event, you can see that there are 1, 2, 3 more blessed summons. And I think those are going to be better. Now, we have to do a disclaimer here. There is there's no guarantee that the next events are gonna still have only 6 dices to get to the epic chest. But if we base to the experience of last season, all of the blessed summons were structured in the same way. We all had the epic chest at 20. I don't think that they're gonna change the structure between the events. It will be quite not nice, I think, for the player base. I will see players getting upset for that, but for 6 dices, it's a good reward. And if we jump into the next one and we have a look at the champion overview, well, I think there are more worth champion over here. I mean, if you need to complete, let's put it this way. If you're still working on your Vortex team and you're missing some of the key champions that are going to help you in Vortex and are going to help you on the bosses, well, look no farther, because this guy, it's absolutely incredible. Adolphus is incredible champion. Shields protect, boosts your turn meter. It does it all and heals. And so, considering that we have all got from season 1 Erich, which is a wild damage dealer that can really push out some good damage, and you can probably pair Epic to do some good damage if you're lucky enough and you pulled the lizard one. Top of my head now, the name is not coming. I'm sure someone is gonna be rushing in the comments to tell me the name. The damage you can do with wild is quite good on Vortex, and therefore probably if this champion is missing from your composition, it will be worth investing, even if it was 20 dice, is honest. I know a lot of people that's going to push even for 20 dice on this banner, because Adolphus unlocked so much on the content in the game. We also have Shelter, which is an amazing damage dealer. We have Vikuk on this banner. We have Catherine. Now, Catherine as well could be really interesting, especially if we're thinking Vortex for next season as well, where we're going to have Fire and Radiance, I think. If I'm not wrong, the rotation should be that. And therefore, we're going to have to pair to our Fire Wild team, if we're going for that, someone protecting for the decreased defense, and Catherine in Radiant is one of the best options accessible if we don't think about legendaries. Vikuk does a similar role. You remove the buff from you, replace decreased accuracy and decreased attack. Is an absolute beast. Useful in so many content. Shelter is an amazing damage dealer. Now, overall, I would say that this banner is probably less interesting than the first one, but the value of only these 4 champions is much higher. What they can do for your account is absolutely incredible. And let's have a quick look at the legendary. Well, you know, there are quite good as well. There are a few very goods over here. If you want to enable your Heist Plus team, Shina is incredible. We have Tamhor, which is annoying as hell, but she's a really good champion. Quisitia is one of my favorite tanks for this season. She's absolutely amazing. We have Filto, an amazing damage dealer. Hulberg, which is also very, very good. I have him, and so it will be really interesting maybe to pull even a dupe for me. But yeah, the value of the legendary is obviously undeniable. And overall, I would say probably, well, Faisa as well. Sorry, I need to mention her as well. Overall, probably I think the first banner has a higher value overall, but I think these banners are mostly appealing for the epic chest for us, especially if there's for six dices, and therefore I think that this combination over here will be more interesting. So if you can hold your dices, it's only opening, what is that, a week away from now, and so it's going to be closer to the collaboration with the D&D, and so you're probably going to figure out better there if you have those 22 dices for D&D collaboration, and if you have an extra supply or you're close to get there, maybe you can jump in here and try to snipe one of those epics. Now, I'm lucky enough to have all of them, all the good ones from this banner, so I will not pull from this banner neither probably. But let's have a look at the third one, and here you can see that also here we have an amazing one. We have Isolde, which pair amazingly with Adolphus. You can get, again, back to that wild team if you have Tononan, Erich, Isolde, and Adolphus, you only need someone protecting from the decreased defense. And you can use in this season, from the Necrosis, you can use Megan to remove the decreased defense and swap it to an increased defense. And you're going to have an incredible team, very accessible, and you can go through Vortex and get to stage 4 and do a crazy amount of damage. We have Voresh, which is also really, really good. We have Clovis, that in my opinion is quite underrated with the decreased ultimate energy and the decreased attack. But the rest of the selection over here, it's not impressive. The good news is, if this chest are only 6 dices each, with 12 dices you are able to get Isolde and Adolphus if you're missing them, or you can get Isolde from here, Voresh, and you can get from the other banner Catherine, Adolphus, all the other good champions over there that we've seen. So you might be able to, anyway, create a roster that can be brought to Season 3 when the rotation are going to change again, and get already a Vortex team running without thinking, oh, who do I miss in that rotation to complete my team? Now, the selection of Legendary over here is amazing as well. I mean, Galenda is amazing. You can build it for decreased attack, you can build it for damage. We have Jorn. This tank, it's absolutely amazing. Dolk for the bosses as well. We have another Thunderbolt enabler, Garrett, Alton. Yeah, they are good. And obviously, yeah, as I said before, getting for legendary can be interesting if you want to select one of them. I don't think we're going to have dices enough unless we're spending a lot for all these banners. So let's move on to the last one and see what epics are available over there. This one will be available after the D&D collaboration will be open. So at that point, you already figure out if you have dices enough to do the event and maybe snipe another epic or legendary. And we have Adolphus again. So there's 2 opportunities from now on for you to get Adolphus Forbat over here as well. Yola, oh my god, I'm gonna put for this one for sure. I don't have Yola, I really need Yola. So this banner for sure will see me put some dices in. She's absolutely incredible. Triple hit ultimate, decrease attack, increase attack aura. She's stunned, she brings a lot of control. She is an absolute beast. Lola, as Scratch like to call it, she's gonna be for sure someone that I look forward to pull. If I don't get her before in any of the other events, I'm gonna be pulling my dices on this one for sure. But overall, guys, there are a good selection of epic, and if we are lucky and we're gonna have the same structure of the event from now to the end of the season, you can reliably think to snipe those champions that are going to complete your team. And as I said before, if you're still working on your Vortex, I will consider pulling dices for that, because it will put you in the situation when whatever the rotation of the affinity will be, you're gonna have a team that can work pretty easily. Let's say you're getting Isolde and Adolphus from 2 of the chests, or Furbat if you don't have him, which is absolutely incredible. But if you get Isolde and Adolphus, you had Erich in Season 1 and you have Tonanen. Now, every season you have 4 character out of 5 for your Vortex team. Obviously, if you're lucky to have a better team, like I do with Dauntless, you're going to look for something else. But if you're in the situation where your Vortex team is still struggling, those 4 champions are a core unit for Vortex, and you only have to pair 1 champion each season to remove those debuff, that decreased defense, and get your team going. And you can choose between Nathaniel, Vikak, you can use Catherine, or you can use Megan. So you have 4 accessible champions in 4 different affinity that only needs to be swapped out to make your team running from the get-go. And that is accessible to all of us. So consider where to pull your dices, in consideration of what the banners are. Hopefully it's going to be only 6 dices for all of them. And if there is this opportunity, you should definitely try to take it. This is everything from this video, guys. I hope you enjoy it, and if you did, please consider liking and subscribing and try to push for the 1,000 subscribers. We're getting closer and closer every day. I am really thankful for all of you watching and commenting and interacting with my content. So far, it's been an amazing journey. Let's keep grinding together, and I'll see you soon with another video about Dragonheir, Silent God.